All right, Washington, D.C. was a hotbed in regards towards the Epstein files, but also what perhaps was ignored the most was numerous amounts of activists storming into Congress and going into many representatives and senators' offices demanding the Epstein files be released. Now, as it stands, and this story is just breaking right now, 30,000 of the Epstein files were released by the GOP. This has to deal with the fact that, again, activists were demanding for Trump's impeachment. So before we even get to the 30,000 files that were released or that was considered to be breaking news, first, let's go ahead and start what happened earlier this morning and afternoon that many of us probably were not aware of. So first of all, I want to give a shout out to Ford Fisher, who managed to get some of these videos. So I want to give full credit to him. Ford Fisher, that name might sound familiar to you, because he was one of the many journalists on the ground who was filming on the infamous January 6th event. So he was right there at the right place at the right time. So I want to give full credit where credit is due. This is from Ford Fisher. So I got nothing but respect for him and his work that he does. Shout out to Ford Fisher.
After you. After you. After you.
We're here with the folks for the Congresswoman.
Yeah.
Now, this is at MTG's You Know Me. They were also with Don Lemon as well.
I'm so sorry about
Is she in?
You guys can contact their office at a different time if you guys would like a meeting with the Congresswoman.
Well, can we leave word for her?
Sure, you guys can pass along the comment.
Yeah, we would like to make sure that she knows that we need to get Donald Trump impeached and out of office. My name is Carlos Alvarez Arantes. I'm the founder of American Opposition. I'm sure you've seen the protests on the streets and the Tesla boycott and all of that. We were one of the organizations that started that. This is Jessica Denson with the Removal Commission.
Office.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to ask you to stop recording. This is a private office.
Yes, and we're here to see the Congresswoman.
You're not residents of our district and you haven't requested.
Yes, well, we're here requesting a meeting.
Well, again, your group is still.
Now, here's the thing. Look, I'm all for activism, but at the same time, too, you just really can't be kicking down doors, barging in, demanding things. Look, because I got a video of MTG, You Know Me, Marjorie Taylor Greene, actually, calling for the files to be released, as well as signing Representative Thomas Massey's discharge petition. So, hey, listen, I'm all for calling out these jagoff politicians on the left and the right. But look, there's always that phrase of a broken clock is right twice in a day.
Recording, if you continue to
Well,
we're gonna have to contact the Capitol Police.
Okay.
No problem.
Do you know when we can get her or be in touch with you back?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I mean, we're here. We have a meeting.
Where are you from?
I'm the founder of American Opposition. I should be in the room for now.
I'm sure.
Yeah, the protests on the streets.
Yeah.
So
I'm a
we're
former Trump supporter and staff member. This is Megan.
She's the woman that got the non-disclosure agreements with Donald Trump's
Flying on the
non-disclosure
plane with
agreements.
Donald Trump.
And this is Don Lemon, and we're here visiting, and we'd like to let her know that we
Okay, there
are.
are ways that you can request an interview with the Congresswoman and bombarding our office.
Hold on. Wait. I got to rewind that real quick. I like how there's a big portrait of MTG just right there. Anybody notice that? oh man. What a republic we live in, What or oligarchy we live in.
Bombarding our office.
Oh no, we're not bombarding. This
We're
is
not
the
bombarding.
people's house, and
We're
we're
very
very
civil people.
peacefully coming here to talk to you.
Yeah.
American citizens. We can
We'll reach out to our communications.
And what's your
Can I
name?
get one, please?
What's your name?
I don't.
You don't.
Yeah, you
You
work for
work in
us.
a, you work in
We
a.
work for the people of Northwest.
Oh, I know.
You work for the American people, and your salary comes from the tax dollars. You work
Still
for us.
reporting.
Yeah, well, that's Don's prerogative. It's Don Lemon, he's a journalist. He's exercising his
There's the
personal.
mega hats on the thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Get out of our office.
All right.
This is the people's house.
Yeah, you
The
guys,
people's
yeah,
house.
you don't have to be rude. No, nobody's being, you haven't been identified. You're a public official.
You're taking a photo of a member of Congress's office.
And that is totally, by the way, that is a First Amendment right.
No, it's not.
Yes, you can take a picture of anywhere you want.
I'm gonna get out of there. Coming here, it's not worth it. Coming here.
Because honestly, you work for us, you wouldn't identify yourself. No, you can get paid by me. All right.
I like that. No foreign lobbying. Hold on. Hold on. Wait.
Oh!
Hold on. Wait. I want to read the signs. Hold still, camera. If you enter this office seeking funds on behalf of a foreign nation, you may be in violation of U.S. Code 61162, Foreign Agents Registration Act, America First. Okay. All right. Well, at least that's on MTG's. Hey, at least when you see that sign, that's MTG. You know me. Wait, why'd you enter the office again? Okay. See, notice the difference how January 6th was handled and now how they're being handled. So, okay, yes, these were activists. Want to be very clear because there's more of this. Activists were demanding Trump's impeachment and the release of the Epstein files. So what exactly went down? The Epstein files were released, and this is a video that was recently shared with me. 30,000 to 30, correction, it looks like it's 33,000 pages of Jeffrey Epstein documents were released by a House panel. So I think it's only fair to bring that up here. But first, again, just so you guys are reminded, Marjorie Taylor Greene, at least as she stated in this video, is committed to doing everything possible to not only sign Representative Thomas Massey's discharge petition, but also stand in solidarity with the victims. So first, let's go and pull up this video here of the announcement.
Well, Congress is back in session after its month-long summer recess. Lawmakers are already facing a deadline of September 30th to avoid a government shutdown. With 4 weeks to go, it's likely Congress will need to pass a short-term spending bill to keep the government funded. But even with that showdown and the shutdown battle on the horizon, possibly, lawmakers have several other items high on the agenda as they get back to work. CBS News congressional correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns joins us now with more on that. Caitlin, so let's talk about what's on the agenda for Congress. Some lawmakers are obviously demanding the full release of the Epstein files, but where do those efforts stand?
Yeah, Jerika, actually, just in the past few minutes, we just got the release from the House Oversight Committee of 33,000 pages. 33,000 pages of documents related to the Epstein files. These were released by the DOJ, and the Oversight Committee has their hands on them, and they are combing through, as will our gracious team of reporters back in our Washington bureau, combing through all of these documents to see what they say. Now, the question I have is whether this quells any of the appetites among lawmakers up here for the further release of further files. We had just today
Now, the reason why I'm going to play a short video, it's only 16 seconds. It's from Vigilant Fox, but it's from CNN. And where Dana Bash openly admits the only reason why Democrats suddenly want transparency on the Epstein files is to make Republicans uncomfortable. To point this out, remember, Joe Biden was president for 4 years. If the Democrats really wanted to make the Republicans uncomfortable, they had 4 years to do so. They chose not to.
The Democrats are doing this, maybe if all of them are going to vote for it, because it makes Republicans uncomfortable. I don't think there is a Democrat who is desperate to see these Epstein files. They had time during the Biden years to do that, and they didn't.
And they didn't. They didn't.
Discharge petition filed by a Republican and a Democratic members of the House to try to force Speaker Johnson's hand here and get a vote on releasing more documents. So basically, in order to do that, they have to get 218 signatures. They have about 212 Democrats. They'll need a handful of Republicans. So the Oversight Committee releasing these documents remains to be seen whether that satisfies the demands of some Republicans for more information here. But that is what we know at this point. We don't know exactly what's in them, but the release is hoping to do what Republicans had hoped would happen over recess, which was to kind of let this story die down and those upset about it be upset about it. But I will say, Jerika, today, House Speaker Mike Johnson had victims of Jeffrey Epstein into his office today to meet with them, to talk to them about what they want to see.
Wow, very interesting that just happened. So I'm sure.
Yes, that it just happened. But what is the takeaway, though? Because the thing is, all right, I was worried that the Epstein story was going to die. And anyone that was covering it, the algorithm was clearly not boosting up the video views on it. Okay. And, there's always an attempt to silence a story. But you cannot deny the fact that Jeffrey Epstein, even in death, his name will live on. And the only way he will, again, pass away truly is if the American people and everyone else forgets this story. Look, it's not only Hardlands media that's talking about, but it's everybody in independent media and on the left and on the right. Here's why we need to talk about this story, okay? Number one, James O'Keefe got a video a long time ago, and I can't play it because we will get hit with copyright strike. Dare I say it, maybe a community guideline strike, okay? By no fault of anybody else, but the algorithm is, anytime I've played that video, oh my goodness, there's always that danger, okay? You got to be worried. Listen, you got to be a little bit worried about that, okay? Sometimes you got to be a little bit careful. But in that video, you had a pundit, a commentator on ABC News admitting that they had everything on Jeffrey Epstein. They had the videos, they had the documents, they had everything. And then they got a phone call from management. You better drop that story. We want you to talk about the royal family, Will and Kate. Now, that's probably not what management sounds like, but ABC is owned by Disney, and whatever the Skaven wants, whatever the mouse wants, the mouse is going to get. We've also had people on the left and the right talk about Jeffrey Epstein, especially with his mysterious passing away. Jeffrey Epstein did not self-delete. And for 5 years, a lot of right-wing influencers got a lot of figgy pudding, a lot of the boost in the algorithm and rhyme to where they made themselves a very comfortable career for themselves until finally they got some marching orders to shut up, which is very suspicious to me. It's either you're consistent or you're not. A story like that just doesn't die on the vine. And as a final warning, too, as Whitney Webb once said, and as many other people have said, from Sabby Sabs to my good friends at Due Dissidence, Jimmy Dore, Hardlands Media, everybody. There are other Jeffrey Epsteins waiting in the wings. There are probably other Jeffrey Epsteins and Miss Ghislaine Maxwells out there. Trafficking kids, abusing people, and the system of blackmail continues on. You want to know why we have such a corrupt system? It's because it's designed that way because we got sociopaths ruling over us. It's that interconnection between Hollywood and DC and the power players, the movers and shakers. From Wall Street executives to bank CEOs, politicians, Hollywood producers, directors, actors, actresses, music tycoons, and musicians themselves. Talk about the P. Diddy test and the egg, right? Don't you get it? Even with Epstein gone and Miss Maxwell in her comfortable club fed in Texas, there's other Maxwells and Epsteins out there. Evil must be opposed. And I want to know who's on that booklet. I want to know who's on that list. And I say this not as somebody on the left, but I say this as an American. And look, a controversial statement here. Maybe this is my weakness. Maybe it's my idealism. But it's my hope that people on the left and the right time out for 1 minute. Is this country really ruled over by predators and those that will protect predators? Is this what we find acceptable? Because just imagine, just for 1 moment, we put aside our differences and pull out the industrial wood chipper and go after these SOBs. Every single American should be demanding to know who's on that list. And you know what? I'm not satisfied with the 33,000 pages. I want to know what took so long and what was redacted out of them. Because chances are documents like this are either redacted or they're going to be missing some things. Remember the JFK, RFK, MLK files that were released? Yeah, turned out to be mediocre nothing burgers, stuff that we already knew and stuff that led us to nowhere. I want to know. I want to know because I want to stop this evil, and I don't want these criminals or anyone else that has hurt women and children to be walking around thinking that's all okay, that it's all right, when it's not, and it never will be. We look ourselves in the mirror and we say that we're good people. We cannot let this story die. Plus, again, Epstein's mysterious passing away. Yeah, I'm supposed to buy it with that footage that looks mysterious and suspicious. I mean, because if you got people calling it out across the political spectrum, this is one of those uh-oh moments where you just can't derail it like Occupy Wall Street establishment politicians. No matter what kind of shiny thing you put in front of us, Epstein's corpse will crawl out of the grave and remind everyone that he knew all of you. If that makes me a bad guy, oh, I love being a bad guy. So first of all, I'll play this video here from MTG. You know me.
I was the second co-sponsor on Thomas Massey's resolution. After reading the entire resolution, I think it's very good. It's well written. It protects the victims, and it provides the transparency that the country deserves, and most importantly, the survivors deserve. Yes, I will be proudly signing the discharge petition.
Why is it important to do this in addition to what the Oversight Committee is doing?
Me personally, and I believe in transparency on all levels. And this shouldn't have been a battle, and unfortunately, it has been one. And you know, as a woman myself, as a mother of 2 daughters, I can't imagine any young girl or any young woman being victimized and having the government and different people in power and basically a cabal of powerful, rich people, as well as the government, cover this up and not prosecute these monsters. And so, yes, I'll probably sign the discharge petition, and I will probably vote for it.
Are there any files that the Department of Justice has, you believe, that would be some sort of smoking gun, and that would be some sort of thing that would really, is there something specific that you know exists that you were trying to get, or is this in case there is something?
So I think all of us are learning as we go, and from what I learned today in our meeting, it was very lengthy, and there was a lot of information given. Gratefully, those are some of the most courageous women I've ever met. These are women that have never truly received justice and have gone out and named names and done everything they can, and they have been failed horrifically. But there's information, but it lies in different places. One place is in the case in New York. Another place would lie within the estate. Jeffrey Epstein's estate. Other information would lie within the FBI, Department of Justice, and that information we are being given, thankfully, on the Oversight Committee. We're being given a lot of information. There's also information in civil cases and trials. So there's information in many different places, and it'll require quite a pursuit to get it.
Have you heard from White House?
All right. Now, I also want to pull this up here, too, because this is Representative Anna Paulina Luna now says that the Epstein scandal is far bigger than anyone imagined. Now, the thing is, okay, she acknowledged Epstein was, in fact, a foreign asset without naming a certain country that starts with the letter I. Now, a lot of countries start with the letter I, but what could it be? India? No. Italy? No. Iran? No. Iceland. I freaking knew it. It's Iceland. All right. Pay me my paycheck. I did it. I'm the greatest detective ever. I'm one heck of a gumshoe. There you go. Anyways.
We are obviously going to be requesting the SARS reports from Treasury, and also following up on that. There's some very rich and powerful people that need to go to jail. I think everyone's been frustrated as to why that hasn't happened before. But it is very much so a possibility that Jeffrey Epstein was an intelligence asset working for our adversaries. But also, too, I think the question...
But what's the country? Is it Great Britain? Is it the British? I mean, we already know that the UK is going after Kiwi Farms and 4chan. Is it Russia? No, it's China. Is it North Korea? Who could it be? Whom? Nobody in the audience. If you could name that country, type it in the comment section below, because I don't think any one of you people, And before anyone says, whoa, what do you mean you people? I don't think any one of you people even can give a correct answer. I'm so sorry.
That we have is how much did our own government know about it. And so there's more to follow, and I'm sure you'll be hearing from the chairman momentarily, but I do applaud the victims from coming forward, because we heard from a woman who was as young as 14 years old when she was victimized multiple times by Jeffrey Epstein. So that's hard to hear.
Did you sign the discharge petition, the discharge petition?
I think that the files will probably be released prior. I don't know why Comer hasn't. I think that he should do it, so it wouldn't even have to come to a vote. But I mean, obviously, I've been a huge advocate, even when I was the only one in Congress calling for the release of this file. So I think I'd be happy to, yes. Thank you.
All right, you just can't leave the room right away. But the thing is, I do want to address this, because there's been a lot of concern overall of the Epstein files and what this means, because this could seem like a way for there to be a appeasement, to appease people so that they don't start asking any more questions, or either that be buried in the documents. Now, the last time we've gotten these documents to be released, all these large documents, again, I want to be clear on this as it stands right now, because there's the number between 30 to 33. There's 33,000 pages of documents, and several videos have been released by the Oversight Committee today. That's Tuesday. This follows repeated calls from both Democrats and Republicans for Trump's administration release of the files. Now, Donald Trump has gone on the record of saying that this is all one big hoax. Well, a hoax like this can't die. And the thing is, 33,000 pages, how many of it has been redacted and how many of it is still relevant? Remember that infamous photo shoot in which you had, excuse me, a lot of influencers jumping up and down like stupid clowns? Turns out they were holding documents that we already knew about. And Pam Bondi even had the audacity to say that she was getting truckloads of documents and stuff that was being delivered on her desk. Now, I find it suspicious that automatically everyone had to come up with a different narrative, including one Dan Bongino saying that Epstein ended his own life, when the autopsy says something completely different. And Dan Bongino, just so you guys know, he's one of those influencers that made himself a very comfortable and beautiful life by actually talking about the Epstein files before he became part of the Trump administration. And then he had to do a complete 180. If that doesn't make you raise an eyebrow and look at him in a suspicious manner, and anybody else that's telling you that the story is a hoax, I don't know what else to tell you. Because for 5 years, you're saying and you're talking as though the story has weight, and then you drop it like it's a hot potato. And the thing is, you just don't drop a hot potato. Not here. Not anywhere. Because as someone who is politically left, but politically homeless, I want to know about those files. So no, I don't care about it being or the accusation of a Democrat hoax. Victims have come forward, and many of these victims have passed away under suspicious, questionable, shocking circumstances that everyone should be looking more into. It's as though they're being told to be silent. It's as though something's trying to be buried. Now, what kind of nice cushy deal Miss Maxwell got so she could go to a nice little prison in Texas, for all the white collar criminals, maybe I'm just being a bad guy here. Looking at my fancy hands, just trimmed my nails and everything, looking all fancy and nice here. Maybe I'm just going to be the bad guy here, but I think Miss Maxwell should go right back to that rough and tumble maximum security prison and not be comfortable at Club Fed, where she's playing tennis and having a nice little private bunk. No, she should not have that. No, because I believe the women who've come forward saying that she was far more worse and far more vile than Epstein, okay? I believe the women, okay? Why? Because somebody like Epstein and all the people surrounding him and all the villainy around there, I just can point and say, you know what? It's one of those things that, yes, I do believe in due process, but at the same time, too, my gut is saying, hey, Kit, these people who knew Epstein and Maxwell, they're not such great people. Question every gosh darn thing. I want to pull up something else here. This is from row your boat, row Kana.
Hi, I want to talk to you about Epstein.
All right. Do you know where the files are?
No tip.
All right.
Just frustration.
Yes.
I do believe that Johnson, your boss, I guess.
Not my boss, but he is the Speaker of the House. Yes.
But he has a lot of power.
He does.
And he shut it down.
He did.
Trump says shut it down, and Johnson shut it down. I don't hear any, other than you, and I have seen you on television before, I don't hear any strong voices from the Democratic Party about very strong issues. This is a very strong issue. You're talking about pedophile, you're talking about as young as 9 years old. What are the Democrats doing about this?
Yeah, okay. Now, before I even let row your boat, Rokana speak, Democrats had about 4 years to do something about this, right? You know, it's politically advantageous for Democrats to be the thorn in the side for the Republicans, so that's why they're kind of flying around the Epstein story, because it's enough to make Donald Trump uncomfortable, and Donald Trump had the audacity and stupidity, the big brain decision to say it was a hoax. Listen, you ran on transparency, Trump, or allegedly ran on transparency to have those files released. And now you're going to call it a hoax? And your main guy, Dan Bongino, who had a podcast, who'd be talking about the Epstein files, now saying that Epstein self-deleted? Huh? What? No. Nah, that's bull. And you know what? Whenever I hear anyone talking about, oh, yeah, that's a hoax, here's what I think about it.
And here's what I think about it.
Absolutely. That's what I think about it. Oh, sorry about that.
Said, oh, this is a distraction. I don't believe it's a distraction. I don't believe hundreds of people, rich, powerful men, engaging in the sexual abuse of young girls and then facing no consequences is a distraction. And I actually have a press conference scheduled when I get back after Labor Day with some of the victims. We're going to come to the Capitol, and they're going to demand the release of the Epstein files.
Well, the wealthy billionaires that went to the island and abused these kids, their names should be published. The people that invaded these girls, abused these girls, they're hiding, and because they have money, they get away with it.
Well, that's what we need, accountability. Obviously, the victims should be protected if they want to be protected, but the people who committed these horrific crimes, they need to be held accountable. And the Democratic Party needs to be the party that fights for transparency, that fights to say that rich and powerful people should have the same rules as you or I have in this country. This is a fight that the Democratic Party, Joe Rogan, we keep hearing all these studies. How do we get young men? I don't need the Democratic Party to waste $20 million on some study on how to get young men. I'll tell you, Joe Rogan said the Epstein files are a line in the sand. The Democratic Party should be fighting for this, talking about this every day until those files are released and people are held accountable.
Well, they should be screaming from the roof.
Okay, so yeah, they should have been releasing those files, and the Democrats should have been fighting a lot harder. All right. When I look at the Democrats talking about this big game and everything else in between, okay, we'll start doing more. But there's a little bit more here as well, because as it stands right now, the Oversight's chairman, James Comer, just broke some major news. First of all, Alex Acosta is coming in to testify in a couple of weeks. You know, usually when somebody high profile comes in to testify, they end up disappearing or something happens to them. And number two, Epstein documents are currently being uploaded for full transparency. And they've also subpoenaed 6 former attorney generals, as well as Bill and Hillary Clinton. Great. What could happen? I don't know. Anytime the Clintons are involved, people disappear. That's what I know about.
Just give a quick update. I think everyone knows who all we've subpoenaed thus far. In the initial batch, we subpoenaed 6 former attorneys general, as well as the Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. We've expanded that to Alex Acosta. Acosta's coming in, I believe, September the 19th, 16th or 19th. We've got that date down. I know that we'll have a lot of questions for him with respect to an earlier Epstein prosecution that he was involved in when he was U.S. attorney. We have the documents, the initial batch that had been sent by the White House. As you know, we also subpoenaed Pam Bondi for those documents. The White House is working with us. I want to publicly thank the White House for turning over so many documents thus far. We're in the process of uploading those documents for full transparency so everyone in America can see those documents. It's going to, as quick as we can get them uploaded, and as the speaker said, they're 34,000 pages. We're doing everything we can to get those uploaded. We want those to be public as soon as possible. And then we're going to continue to bring in more people. We learned of some additional names today. We're going to do everything we can to give the American public the transparency they seek, as well as provide accountability in memory of the victims who have already passed away, as well as those that were in the room and many others who haven't come forward. So we're sincere about this. This was a 2.5 hour discussion. It was as bipartisan as anything I've seen in the 9 years I've been here. Appreciate the speaker for giving us the authority to seek out everything that I think you all want and the people that I talk to as I travel America want. We're going to do everything we can to get the answers and to do it as soon as possible. Just give
All right, so look, I don't know if somebody wants a death wish or anything like that nature, but when you bring in the Clintons, hey, make sure you got your body armor set up. Make sure you got your will and last testament all set up as well, because it's never good. Or perhaps maybe the sign that it's all come crashing down as it should be. And that's something that I am looking forward to covering here. Now, my one concern is this, all right, folks, and this is where all of you, the viewers and people, are going to have to get involved. I know. What can you do? Well, whenever you see anyone from independent media talking about this story, be it Hard Lens Media or anybody else, please like the video, comment on the video, because there will be further fallout. This is only the beginning. So that means people got to be digging through these documents, reading through the paperwork, reading through 33,000 plus pages of the Epstein files that are now being released. Prepare yourselves for some things to be nothing burgers and other things to perhaps maybe reveal the horrific truth about the all-encompassing reach of one Jeffrey Epstein and how he was able to have manipulative control over politicians and the movers and shakers in the world of finance and Hollywood. We all know that he knew the power players in every genre in the United States. We all know that people knew who he was, and we all know that there are victims who have come forward all saying the same thing. This is only the beginning. You want to stand up against evil? Hey, call out your congressman and woman. Tell them to stay on this case. You yourself, be active and talk about this. Share, post. Don't let the story die, because as I speak right now, there's another Epstein out there. There's another Maxwell out there. We want to kill the system. We got to break the system. You can't reform something in which politicians are willing to defend this. Now, these Epstein files have been released. Hey, prepare yourselves to say that, oh, well, that's it, and there's nothing more. There's always something more. Were any of us satisfied with the JFK files or the MLK files or the RFK Sr. files that were released? No, because, listen, it's not the first time our government will lie to us, nor will it be the last. So I'll have democracy in the chat. Do you trust the government to follow through with its promise to make sure that there is justice for the Epstein disaster? Type 1 for yes, kid. This time things will be different. We don't need to look over our politicians. Type 2, no, man. They'll figure out a way to somehow make this die on the vine, and that ain't happening. I wonder how many 2s will be in the chat. I wonder. Do you ever wonder, as you should?